It's great to have you on the show and kind of talk about the story of Bloomin Blinds and how this thing got started.
Yeah, that was my brother Kelsey on stage, but we're frequently misconstrued one for the other. But yeah, I was in the
There
audience giving hand signals and nods of assurance on his comments.
you go. Okay.
That was the first time at the Springboard that we'd been on, had a stage presence. So we kind of run this company shoulder to shoulder along with my other brother. And so it was very much of a, are we doing okay? Yeah, you're doing great type back and forth. We've never lived apart or worked apart since we've been out of the home.
Wow.
I'm 45, he's 47. So our ability to communicate with a nod or a wink is next level. And so it makes
Absolutely.
running the company efficient when we can
Cool.
communicate with that ease and efficiency. So
Nice. All right. So
it was Kelsey on stage, and I forget who the moderator for the thing was, but he called me out in the audience for calling signs and stuff like the catcher. It was
nice.
fun.
So let's go back to the beginning. I understand mom is the founder of the company in 2001. Specifically, you mentioned 9/11.
Correct.
And you're one of three brothers that are involved in the company. So let's talk about the genesis of this and how 9/11 obviously impacted the start of
Yeah.
this.
Genesis is kind of a BC period to it. Mom did a blind company by herself in Northwest Washington State for 6 or so years prior to moving to Texas. Divorced, self-made, success on multiple other businesses as an entrepreneur, take and bake pizza, children's clothing. This was just the next evolution of something else to do. She's a single woman now, wanted to kind of get out of town. So Texas became the destination. My younger brother, Kevin, came first. I came after. Mom came midsummer of '01. Started rummaging around, getting the business set up. Again, Kevin and I living together when my younger brother living together now. So we've never been apart as a family. Mom brought that business down to Texas after selling and kind of getting out of Dodge from the relationship up north. Brought the company down here and did the paperwork. 9/11 happened. Comptroller's office stamped the paperwork and was shortly thereafter sent home for a few days. So that became our anniversary as the retail arm, and then franchised paperwork at 14 and first one on the ground at 15.
Wow. And now your background though is in firefighting. Is that right?
Yeah. So when we started Bloomin Blinds, it was never intended to be a franchise. This was not built to franchise on inception. It was built to provide a mom and three sons with a family business that could keep us together and we could depend on each other, and which we enjoyed. And it was meant to be jobs. My brother, being the dreamer and that visionary mindset, hence the CEO, said, there's other ways to do this. Like, we don't have to work so hard doing this. There's other efforts we can do and kind of share the love. And the choice was separate the family and go to separate parts of the country and do this, without each other. Or there's this thing called franchising where you could teach other people to do that and they'll take your business out there. And that's how we found franchising, was basically in an effort to not break up the family.
Well, let's go. I want to go back, Chris, to even the beginning. Why blinds? How did the concept start?
The concept started, mom did it in Washington, right? She was looking for something to do, found an ad in the back of a newspaper of a guy selling an ultrasonic cleaning tank. Literally did the deal on a napkin at a Denny's. She promised to pay 50% of her profits until the tank was paid off. And that's how she got introduced to blinds. She met a really generous, nice, kind person who said, sure, I believe in what you're trying to do. And that kind of became the genesis of the entire entry into window coverings.
And
so mom did it independently, and then her sons joined.
And did she own a business before that? This is her first entrepreneurial journey.
It was her third entrepreneurial journey.
Okay.
Yep. And so she had a series of take and bake. She had 6, I think, at one point, take and bake pizza stores with her mom in Central California. And they did that together. Prior to that, she had a children's clothing shop in Central California prior to moving to Washington. So this was the next evolution of life for her when she had a significant life change and needed to find a landing pad. Much is our history. We created our own.
Wow.
She taught us how to do that.
So you guys are running this company-owned location, for lack of a better word, for 13 years before you franchised the concept, right? I'm just curious to know, I want to get a sense of how big the company was before you franchised.
Yeah, at the peak, we had 11 employees for our local operation, and we're doing just under 3 million in retail sales manually.
Okay, so you guys are happy, you're doing well, and then all of a sudden one day Kelsey goes, "I think we need to franchise this." What did you all think?
Shut up and finish your job, right? Because we're all doing the job. Like, brother, we're on a job we need to finish first. Like, let's
Right,
focus here, right? I'm the ops guy. I want to finish what's in front of me before I go buy the next chunk.
right.
Well, him over the dreamer is like, well, hang on, hear me out. I got an idea. We're like, fine, whatever, and keep talking. I got work to do.
Uh-huh.
And so it was the year, maybe a 2-year process of, it wasn't an overnight thing. Kelsey would, go do some sales appointments, then schedule off the afternoon to go chase paperwork and the learning of the thing that was necessary and just the super high level of entering the franchise space.
Right.
FDD, ops manuals, things like that were necessary elements. He spent the time chasing those, kind of double duty and launching the franchise while also doing retail sales for the family business. So that's how we got all our paper. We had a really great mentor in Chris Connor
Mm-hmm.
from Franchise Marketing Systems that became good friends with over the years and
Okay.
has given us great advice. He did the original paperwork for us. Very good mentor, very, helpful in advice and kind of that Jimmy Cricket for us on the shoulder of, hey, watch out for that, check out that, just a sounding board, mostly for Kelsey, but it was great leadership. Kelsey was the sole employee of the franchise for the first couple of years
Mm-hmm.
on the books. We were all double dipping in the retail work in retail. And then when we had a franchisee for training, we would, layer those together so
Mm-hmm.
we could manage the training and management at the same time. And then in 2017, sold that operation to the then office manager and went full-time franchisor
Wow.
and kind of plateaued at that with that capacity, needed full-time attention to kind of get to that next stage. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of was the beginning of the new evolution or really the maturity, I think is a better word, of the brand
Mm-hmm.
and how we found our space. But
Well, Chris, the thing that you said that is very, very common among us franchisors is that one, we didn't come from a franchise background or any experience, but two, we were fortunate to find a mentor and find somebody that would help kind of guide us and lead the way. That you didn't have to just make all the mistakes on your own because you might not have survived it, but you had somebody that you can rely on and gave you some great guidance. So now you franchised in 2017. You guys sold off then the company location. How many franchises between 2014, from the time you franchised, from 2014 to 2017, how many franchises did you guys have on board before it was like, okay, we're all jumping onto the franchise ship?
in the 20s, I believe, low 20s, right in that range. 24 sounds like a comfortable, but it was somewhere in that range because we were all, Kelsey would know. It was intimate for him, but we
Right.
were doing, at the time, I was a firefighter and also, doing retail install sales repair side of the business, as well as training when we had franchisees in town. So it was very ad hoc structure as we were going, because we knew at the time we didn't understand franchising as it is. We wanted to teach other people how to do the job, and we
Mhm.
thought that was it, right? If I teach people how to do window coverings, I'm a franchisor.
Mhm.
And it took some time and some well-learned lessons to figure out that when you become a franchisor, you really are accepting the responsibility to properly engage two separate industries, because
Right.
franchising has its own needs and requirements, marketing, advertising, voice, volume of voice, that the widget or window coverings doesn't. And we have to be mutually, I think, to give a proper service offering to our franchise business owners, we have to be equally adept at both. We can't just be great widget people and poor franchisors. We have to be excellent franchisors because they're buying a franchise brand, not
Mhm.
just a brand, a franchise brand. They're inseparable to us. So, and it took us a while to learn that. And we're eternally grateful for the patience that our early adopting franchisees, franchise business owners gave us, because I feel confident that we did not mislead them in our capability.
Right.
Like, we told them our desires and our direction and our growth path and where we want to be. We just don't quite yet know how to get there. And they said, okay, I get it. Like, they're the early entrepreneurs too. They're the brave ones that are saying, "Oh, I'll take a chance on you."
They know what they're getting themselves into, generally speaking, in franchising when you're an early adopter.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I
They're a
think
different
at this
breed.
point they are, and I'm very grateful for that other side of that breed that isn't always so common, but they brought to the table in spades to get us to the point now where I think we're starting to be able to pay out on those promises of we're trying to, I'm talking with you, like,
Yeah.
we've made some stride and we're building a brand. And this year is going to be pretty exciting for the things that we're launching this year. So from there to here, I think their patience is going to be rewarded shortly with some lift.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fumey, or Emerging Franchise Group, LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.